Hello, everybody. That's my finger, not my winky. Right, so today, this is going to upset a lot of people. We're talking about why cord cutting rituals are not actually magic and why they are just a placebo. Now, the first thing to say, and this is really going to upset people, sorry, feel free to comment and explain why you think otherwise. I don't believe in chords, and I don't. I've never ever seen. I've seen chords as in when an entity is attached and it leaves its tendrils in you. I've never seen a chord between two people through my third eye, out in the astral. Never. Now, for me, these chords. Oh, you've got a chord between the two of you. Is light side BS rhetoric. You know, and it feeds into this spiritual Karen white middle class spiritual rhetoric to give an excuse to why you're not over an ex. You know, and that then feeds into the twin flame thing, my favorite subject. You know, twin flames aren't real. The twin flame journey is real because it has been created through collective consciousness. Your soul does not split into two. Why would it? Why would it? Stop and think about that. Why would your soul split into two? And when we go down the love aspect, why do you want to be making out with the other half of yourself? So let's just quickly break the twin flame nonsense, because I enjoy doing this one. So if you're of the belief of twin flames, then you're no doubt in the belief that everything is a mirror and everything reacts to that. Now, if everything's a mirror and a twin flame is literally the other half of you, so it's going to be the ultimate mirror, isn't it? Why is it that the feminine energy gets there first, waits, and the masculine energy runs off? Because that ain't a mirror. Explain that one to me, please, twin flamers. Anyway, back on point. So, magic is real. Magic is energy manipulation. Magic is about bending the matrix, if you want to call it that. And magic, everything to do with magic, comes from here. As I always say, this is the engine, this is the driver. You can open up your heart space and call in whatever you want, but that's just the engine ticking over. And most of the time, when people tell you to do that and talk about manifestation through your heart space, they are just siphoning you. They want you to open up your heart space so they can pull out your energy. And you idiots go and pay God knows how much to go and have this done to you. Fools. Right, anyway, yeah, so magic comes from here, right? Now, generally speaking, I mean, there's lots of different ways you can do cord cutting, right? But one of the most common ways, especially within witchcraft, is the old spell work with two candles and some twine, and we burn the twine. We burn the candles and we wait for it to burn the twine. Now, tools are practical, but again, tools are not the magic, right? So when I'm doing a remote hex removal, for example, I do burn a candle, and I've got my little bottles there, okay, and I chuck stuff in it, right? Now, chucking the powders onto the flame, number one, it looks really cool. Number two, that's not the magic. The magic comes from here and the intention in my mindset. What doing that does for me is give me confirmation normally how bad the hex is. And I've had quite a lot of bad ones recently, both placed on myself and Lucy, but also for some of my clients. So if you have a remote hex removal, right, you have to trust me that I've done it, basically, because it's remote, much like having distance Reiki. I will send you a picture of the candle afterwards. Now, if that candle is completely decimated, which it has been a lot of recent, that to me indicates that it's been a pretty heavy hex. If it burns down halfway, granted, it might not be very nice for the client, what they've been experiencing, But that to me is an indication that the magic used isn't overly strong. It might be an individual practitioner as opposed to a coven. So yeah, that's more of a gauge and a guide. Now, don't get me wrong, the flames coming up and stuff like that, that's a good way for me to kind of, yeah, magic. Don't get me wrong. But cord cutting rituals are BS because there's no magic behind it. To cut cords with somebody, and like I say, cords for me don't exist. I don't, you can disagree with me if you want. That's perfectly fine. You've got your belief system, but they don't exist. What a cord cutting ritual actually is a placebo effect, because it is designed for you to go, right, that's done now. That person's out of my life. Now, if you honestly and truly want them out of your life, then it will then it will work. If you're doing it because you're sick of being in this sad, anxious attachment energy, but part of you wouldn't mind this person coming back provided they've changed and show you interest, then it never works. Okay. Now, you could turn around to me and say, well, Richard, if it's a placebo effect and it's working, why are you mentioning this? And you'd be right in that sense. The problem is, as I just mentioned a moment ago, too many people, they wouldn't mind if this person came back. Now, the problem is when that happens is they burn these candles and this twine, and inevitably it doesn't work because the intention isn't there. The belief isn't there, okay? And again, that's how we do magic, but in this case, it's more of a psychological thing. They kind of just want the person to change and come back, and they're just sick of them being in their energy, right? So what then happens is they go, oh, I've done this cord cutting ritual, but they're still in my energy. That means they're my person. Or even worse, that means they're my twin flame. And what then happens is they continue to wait around, fawn, stay in that anxious attachment energy. Now, the real way that you cut cords with somebody is that you realize that you are being treated like vermin. This person has no interest in you. This person is using you. This person, reality, couldn't really give a crap. Now, if you are waiting around for somebody who is treating you that way and you're desperately wanting them back, what you need to do is take some accountability for yourself and shift the focus back on yourself and question, why am I doing this? Where is my self-worth and value? And why am I allowing somebody to treat me this way? Now, the chances are that you're the feminine energy, and the feminine energy should never chase, it should attract. Now, as I always say, sometimes you have to flash a little bit of ankle to get the masculine's attention, but then you sit back in it. You wait for them to come to you. Well, you don't even wait. You sit back in it and you get on with your life. And if they come forwards, they come forwards, but they need to come forwards in the right energy. Okay? So you need to focus on that. If you are struggling with that, then go and get some mental health support. It doesn't have to be heavy counseling or therapy or anything along those lines if it's not that bad. But you need somebody, a thought therapist, who can help you snap that programming. Okay. Now, I'm going to do a little plug. I don't like plugging people because this, as arrogant as it sounds, this is my channel. All my hard work goes into this. Okay. But if you do get stuck and you like my style, there is a brilliant psychic medium and thought therapist called Rick Paul. Okay. He offers something called NLP, neuro linguistic programming. And it's about unpicking that mess in your head. Okay. So if you are stuck, don't get canned. I mean, you can try it, but like I say, if it doesn't work, it's not really magic. So go and hit Rick up. Okay. He's not really on TT. He's on FB. He's on YT. Okay. He's got a website, Rick Paul. If you just search Rick Paul Medium, you'll find his website. Go and get him some work, right? It's going to save you a lot of expense in candles long term and waiting around in anxious attachment energy. So there you go. Cord cutting rituals, as far as I'm concerned, complete load of BS. Ta-ta.